What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan, and this is the Thunder Channel on Nootropics. So we're going to do something a little different today. And instead of talking specifically about nootropics, we're going to talk about motivation and, aside from optimizing brain chemistry to achieve motivation, what do you have to do? And some simple philosophies that I like to use in life and in business that keep me very motivated to do things. In the meantime, what supports this broadcast, you guys know the drill. A couple epic nootropic products. Number one, the Cortex nootropic stack. Move it over here now that I'm different. It's just a powerful stack. Look, if you want motivation, mental energy, verbal fluency, get Cortex. It's like turn your brain on in 2 capsules. You can also get it auto shipped to you so that you don't have to do anything on auto ship. It takes, where can I even put that? It takes about a minute to sign up for it. It's basically on the Cortex buy page, and you just select the auto ship option. You end up getting it for cheaper if you do auto ship, by the way, and then you don't have to do anything else forever, or for as long as you want it. You can cancel it anytime you want if you feel like it's not for you or you just don't want to do auto ship. But it's good to have Cortex around. Like, it's good to have Cortex sort of constantly coming in, and it stacks with all the racetams. It stacks with Alcar, stacks with dynamine, teacrine. It's just a great option to have. So do auto ship at livecortex.com. Ground zero if you're new to nootropics. So if you've just started and you're just trying to learn the ropes, but you want to get good stack results, get Nootropics Ground Zero, because I'll save you at least a few years in research and experimentation of trying to get good stack results, and you'll be getting good stack results immediately watching that video course. Do that at livecortex.com. If you're a guy that has to raise test, VTP, sign up for it. It's a consult basically, but it is me listening to your particular story, obviously if we can, looking at test numbers, and then giving you a very tailored protocol to optimize free and total test. VTP, livecortex.com. Last couple things. If you want fully optimized brain performance and you have the budget and you want to work with me on a one-on-one basis for either 3.5 months or 6 months, I mean, the profile is typically middle-aged business person or younger business male that just is either functioning well and wants to see what that next level is in terms of brain functionality and productivity, or has deficiencies in functionality and wants to improve them, wants to get energy back, wants to have cognitive performance that allows them to be uber productive. 6 months or 3.5 months. If you think about doing it, just pull the trigger. Email me if you have questions, ryan@livecortex.com. So I like to think of motivation like a shower. Shower. In that you got to do it every day. I think there are some underlying things that can motivate you that are sort of always there. But at the same time, your daily engagement in certain activities is pretty critical to fostering your motivation for that day. A lot of people have, and I've been sort of victim of this, the idea that, motivation is something that comes to you, like you either have it or you don't have it. And that nothing could be further than the truth. As far as I can tell, and how it works for me is that I have to do it. I have to renew it every day. It's like, it's something I have to actually do. Now, aside from like the Cortex stack, and modafinil is an incredibly killer motivation nootropic chemical, and a lot of other nootropic compounds that will essentially just get you in that place. It's like, so if you get in that place of feeling able to actually physically work on stuff, if you don't have defined goals that piss you off because you're not there, well then, like, what are you going to do with your brain energy? I mean, you could game, you could become a gamer, or you could clean your house or whatever. Like, but if there's nothing that you've defined and you've set up conditions in your mind that make you motivated, you're not going to do it. So here's I'll just go through some of my ways of motivating myself. As I just mentioned, I like to look at where I'm at and be pissed off about it. I like to look at where I'm at and be pissed off about it. I think you can fall into the trap of excessive gratitude with where you are. Like it is good to look at where you are and be like, man, I really love this, and things are comfortable and my life is good. But too much of that, it's just human nature. It will get you complacent, and you're not going to do a whole lot from there. You often see people become really, really successful, and then they reach a certain point of like monetary, like liquid cash or something, or net worth, and then they lose it. right? Because the motivation to make more of it, to create more of like a good lifestyle, isn't there, because it sort of sat in that resting on your laurels type of place for a while. And I've done that before in business. I learned this lesson in my last business where the company was doing, I don't know, it was like 300K a year. It was basically me. I had hired some contractors here and there. So think about that. Pretty good living, right? And I was 28 or something. I got too comfortable. And quickly, once that happened, once I had built it up to that point and saved a bunch of money and stashed a bunch of money and set my life up really well, I got too comfortable. I sort of stopped working on that business. And then very, very quickly things turned south. I mean, there were some market changes in the business that turned south on, parts. We were fixing iPhones and iPads for companies and schools and stuff. That the market in China changed, the Apple Parts product market. But also, I just wasn't paying attention to it. So that 300K in annual revenue turned to like 175, and then it just kept kind of going downhill from there. That's a big drop. Even though it was so comfortable, it was not great. Part of that was I wasn't doing the work. I wasn't staying motivated. I was comfortable with where I was at. And that's just a huge problem, being comfortable. Be comfortable to a degree where you're at, but be pissed off that you're not where you want to be. These days, it's like, okay, could I go take 6 months and learn to surf in Hawaii if I wanted to? Well, yeah, but then I couldn't do content. I guess I could do content in like my hotel room or apartment that I would rent there or whatever. But it's just not really conducive to where I'm at now. Like, I live with my gal. We've got a house and things cost money. Everything costs money, right? So it's like, could I comfortably do that? Yeah, maybe I can make it work. But like, could I do that and then come back for a couple months and then take a trip to Mexico for 2 weeks and then come back and then be like, you know what? I'd like to tour wine country in California. Not really, not really. And not that I ever want to get to that point, but it's like there are other things. I mean, this whole COVID mess has just been so ridiculous. And, I've contemplated just buying like a big cabin that could actually serve as a house in the middle of the woods and just getting away from everything, from everybody. I would absolutely still be engaged in all this. And nootropics is like my favorite thing ever, but getting away from people. And like, sure, I could do that, but does my gal want to do that? Like, not necessarily right at the moment, right? And so, like, in order to make that work, it would just be, it would be a financial situation, right? Like, I'd have to have it but not live there. Maybe have someone sort of service it, Airbnb it in the meantime. Have it made there, etc. It's double mortgages, whatever. Yeah, it's just like I would love to be able to do that and not think about it at all, not have it be a concern whatsoever. Like, tomorrow, let's do it. And for me, that type of comfort, comes in the millions of net cash, right? So, and that's a hard thing to achieve, despite how successful your business may be. So that's one of the things. But like, so many more of those things. In America, your greatest tool for freedom is money. I wanted to say, back to the whole COVID thing, it is a mess, but that thing and its variants, there's just a lot we don't know about it. There's a lot we do know about it, but there's a whole shit ton that we don't know about it. And I'm not like fear-mongering or any of that. I'm not like really on either side of it. I just, I've done a lot of the research on the mechanisms of it and what it can actually do to people. And yeah, man, I mean, even healthy people, it can do some substantially negative things to healthy people. It's pretty terrible. But the whole thing's a mess, right? So it makes me want to kind of get away. In some of those situations, I'm not quite comfortable doing that, and that pisses me off, right? I mean, I could do it, but it wouldn't be as comfortable as I want it to be. So that's one of the things that really drives me. I think the other critical thing is, like, every single day renewing motivation. It is your job to do that, and that starts in the morning. Typically, it starts with a good night's sleep. It starts with like everything from your morning regimen, like supplement regimen, nootropic regimen, to your breakfast, to whether or not you work out in the morning. I typically tend to eat breakfast and work out before going to work, right? And those two things, just eating breakfast and getting in some weight training before I go to work, are substantially helpful for making me motivated to want to start working and taking care of things, especially the weightlifting. But I mean, food too. It's like, I could fast, but then like working out, like I don't know, I don't like to fast and work out anymore. Like there's no fat I need to lose at this point. I'm like fine where I am and whatever. Meditation is another huge part of that, right? Eat breakfast, work out, or do whatever morning routine, take your supplement regimen, and then put your brain in a place where, like, if you have fires that you haven't put out, you put them out. How much easier is that to be motivated in that state versus a place where there's fires going on in your head that you haven't put out? I also think that one of the things that I have like that I think about a lot and drives me is like, and this goes back to like understanding neuroplasticity and how it can happen. It was Eric Kandel, who's a neuroscientist, who first discovered it can happen in the 90s. And when I discovered that, which was, I want to say 2009 timeframe, because I started getting into this stuff and reading it. 2008 timeframe? Somewhere around there. I sort of extrapolated that idea of constant ability to grow to my life. And I don't want to say I feel guilty if I'm not growing, but I do feel bad. I feel bad when I'm not growing and not being productive. Like I just couldn't not be productive, I can sit around for a certain period of time and then I get really restless and want to be productive. But back to the neurogenesis thing, like exploring your growth capacity and your productivity capacity to the fullest extent possible. The fullest extent possible. If you do that, you realize there's milestones and things that you can achieve that you never thought you could achieve. Like 15 years ago, before I got into basically personal development, and nootropics is just a sector of that. It took over my life. I never would have thought I could be where I am now. I never would have thought, I could have built this channel. I never would have thought I could have built a couple businesses. I never would have thought that I could be the person that I am. I just had negative thinking patterns. I never really believed that I was capable of doing a whole lot. I joined the Army, got out, and that was around that time where I started getting into business and things and meditation and nootropics. But like just before that, I just didn't think I could. I was like, oh, maybe I'll be a cop or something. I'll have to go to school, be a police officer. That aligns with my military work and whatever. I never knew I could do much bigger things. And now I'm at the scale of solving a condition that affects millions of men and women all around the world called PSSD. And like, I'm really doing it, and I love doing it. And this is a huge thing. And eventually, the solution will be patentable, and that's huge. So it would be a great financial thing for me, very lucrative. But at the same time, just try to ponder what that is like to be able to help millions of individuals with something large scale. It's like you've invented something that's like helps a lot of people. Those large scale things, I've always just thought like, hey, it just feels good to be shooting for greatness in life, and that's one of the things that keeps me motivated as well. So I think it's a lot of things. I think I'm starting to lag a little bit here, but if I am lagging, I guess I'll have to end the video soon. Thanks so much for sticking with me through this. I hate when that happens. I think I need a new MacBook, honestly, because I'm just doing this on my Mac at the moment. But yeah, it's a lot of things. I think love. Having love in your life, like whether it's your partner, your wife, husband, partner, whatever, girlfriend, boyfriend, animals, my cat, Max, my cat, we have 4 cats, but my cat, I love him so much, man. And just like, I let the love I feel for my cat motivate me. And when that's all good, it's great. My relationship with my gal, when that's good and all thoughts are checked and things are checked on the list, like I'm getting what I need, she gets what she needs, I'm very happy, in those times. And I use that to motivate me to do work and stuff and just grow as a human being. But there is a point there is a case for when love when love isn't in your life, definitely messing with your overall worldview and therefore your motivation to do things. I just think love and happiness and stuff are really important elements of of being a whole person, and therefore being a productive person and being motivated to do things. Happiness is another one. Contentness, huge ones. And if there's stuff going on in the world that like bothers you, that can inhibit your productivity too. For the longest time, like in the beginning of this whole mess that we're in, I just the way the governors were reacting to it, like very excessive, right? And it bothered me. But if I'm going to sit and let it bother me, it's going to mess with my motivation, right? Outside things that are happening, you've got to do your best to not let them fuss with what you're doing. And look, there's always a strategy for everything, right? There's always a strategy to deal with everything. And it's getting better, etc. So, and probably the sort of, ilk that's in will be ushered out in time by the voters. So, yeah, I guess that's it, man. I think there's a lot that goes into being driven, but those are my personal things. Like I use love and let it drive me, I make sure my sleeping regimen's straight. Sleep is a very important thing for me. Yeah, I'm nowhere near my full self if I get even 6 hours. I'll lay in bed extra. I'll wake up at 7 a.m., but like, you feel that feeling in your eyes, like, no, you should stay sleeping. I'll sleep for another hour and a half. It just doesn't matter. I have to, so that I can feel like this. I can feel good and feel awesome. Being a little pissed off about where you are compared to where you want to be. Having a next echelon always. Not that where you are isn't good enough. It's just if you set higher expectations, like it'll drive you to move there, right? If you just keep setting them. Be happy with where you're at to an extent, but keep setting expectations for yourself to be doing more things. It drives you, right? An object at rest will stay at rest, and an object in motion will absolutely stay in motion, and that's sort of the thing that I like to sort of live by. Stay in motion. Stay in motion. I mean, there can be periods of rest, and there certainly are, but largely stay in motion. Hope that's been helpful. I just want to do some philosophy on motivation and kind of how I think about it outside of the realm of nootropics. I mean, they're a critical part of it, but again, the best stack in the world, but if you have no defined goals, what will you use it for? You can clean the hell out of it. You can power wash your house, and you'll do a great job. Guys, go support the broadcast, livecortex.com. Cortex stack. Very, very strong motivation, mental energy, the will to work, the will to get things done, but having a fast brain. The guy that I initially worked with at NutraScience Labs, which is our product manufacturer for Cortex, he took it when we were first having them manufactured after I had formulated it and tested it, etc. And he's like, dude, you have something very special here. Turned me on. Get Cortex, livecortex.com. Auto ship is the best way to do it. Probably want to just actually make that like substantially bigger. Oh yeah, that's a giant graphic. Go do Cortex auto ship. It allows you to get Cortex for a lot cheaper than what it normally is, and then it auto ships to your doorstep every month without you having to do anything. Do that at livecortex.com. Ground zero. If you are new to nootropics or in that new range, if you've just started, you want to get better results, it's really all about wanting to get faster results of like getting to the place where your stacks are working really well, and you understand how to make them really well, and you understand how to adjust them really well. You just become a master formulator and adjuster of stacks, and there's many stacks. Lots of lessons in Nootropics Ground Zero. Get it at livecortex.com. And again, young or middle-aged business males that are performing okay but want to see what that next level is like that Bradley Cooper limitless brain performance level is like, because it does exist. Let's work together. It's one of the things that we do. On these consulting packages, we do two things mainly. One, we'll optimize the hell out of your brain if you're already feeling awesome. Two, though, some people aren't feeling awesome, and they need to be. Like, they may have been in a place where they used to function really, really well. Like, I remember I worked with a guy who had, he's in a great place financially and still worked for his, big company, big well-known company, but had lost a lot of steam, and it was because of brain performance, and, like, some things went wrong with his body. he just wasn't functioning well. So he came to me like, hey, I just want to get that zest back that actually got me to the C-suite in my company. So I worked with him for 3.5 months, and we got it all back, right? And now that the dude's just kicking ass over there at X big well-known company. So it's different kind of profiles that end up, going with me on 6 months or 3.5 months. I'll tell you what, though, if you have the budget, 6 months is a better option. I mean, look, we can do a lot in 3 months, 3.5 really. But 6 months is ultimately better. And for those of you that want to go crazy, we actually have a year consult. So high performing individuals that want sort of a brain performance kind of coach to help you formulate for you formulations of all different chemicals that support good brain function and optimize it. Go for a year, go for 6 months, go for 3.5. That's it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this has been cool, kind of changing up the typical topics that we discuss here. And talk to you guys next time.